distance, ribbon black, stretched to the point of no turning back. Flight of fancy on the windswept field, standing low, my senses reel. Fatal attraction is holding me fast. How can I escape its irresistible grasp? Can't keep my eyes from the setting sky. Tongue-tied and twisted, just an earthbound distant eye.
This episode of GATV is devoted to seaplanes and the Seaplane Pilots Association. We'll attend a few splash-ins, then do some seaplane flight training. And we'll get some flight training tips from the instructors at Ocean Helicopters and North County Flight Training. Finally, we check in with Master CFI Jim Alsop for this segment of Hangar Talk.
All right, you are go. We see the Earth.
You got it.
We see the Earth now.
You got it.
We see the Earth.
You got it.
We see the Earth now. All right, you are go.
Have you ever watched a small plane passing overhead and wondered what it'd be like to fly? Well, here's your chance. North County Flight Training can start you on your way to becoming a pilot, or even take you further into a career as a commercial pilot with their flight training from private through ATP. For those days when Mother Nature doesn't cooperate, North County Flight Training has a full motion flight simulator where you can log time and practice maneuvers in a safe, controlled environment. If you're already a pilot, North County Flight Training rents their fleet of aircraft starting at as little as $85 an hour including fuel. And because they're affiliated with Aircraft Maintenance Specialist, who is the area's Cessna Authorized Service Center, you're going to rent the cleanest, most well-maintained aircraft available. Their Discovery flights are only $99 and make a great gift. For more information, call 561-694-9282 or log on to northcountyflight.com. GATV Online's website is devoted entirely to general aviation. Not only can you watch each episode of GATV 24/7, but GATV Online can be your one-stop for all of your aviation needs. Like our flight planning page, where you can check the weather, plan your flight, and even file your flight plan. And the Flying Resources page gives you quick access to many other aviation websites. There are other pages that cover upcoming events, tell more about the GATV crew, plus please check out our sponsors links page, whose support makes GATV and GATV Online possible. New to our website is our flight training page, with loads of information about becoming a private pilot or a sport pilot, including links for flight instruction and ground school. We always like to hear from our viewers, so drop us an email with any comments or suggestions. That's GATV and GATVonline.com. If you want to know the true meaning of freedom, you should take a ride in a seaplane. If you're a pilot, it doesn't matter how many hours you have under your belt. The experience of taking off and landing on the water will increase your skill level, and unlike the other type of flying you may be used to, being able to fly low and slow without the need of a fancy panel of gauges or the clutter of a busy radio in your headset will be a welcome change. If you're not a pilot, you're in for a real treat, and I wouldn't be surprised if a seaplane ride is all you need to spark your interest in aviation enough to get your pilot's license. Another great way to find out more about seaplanes and get a close-up look at many different aircraft is to attend a splash-in. This is where a number of seaplanes and pilots gather to show off their aircraft, build relationships with other pilots, and expose the general public to a water-flying lifestyle. It's a lot of fun. These splash-ins are a great thing to attend, even if you're not a seaplane pilot, even if you're not a pilot. We're doing something a little different. We came to this beautiful facility. It's the Lakeside Inn. It's in Mount Dora. We came here to attend a splash-in that was hosted by the Seaplane Pilots Association along with the Lakeside Inn. What we found is something so much more than just a splash-in. This is a beautiful facility, a great place for weddings, to bring your seaplane, to just come for a weekend. It's a beautiful town. There's little shops right up the street. Really a big surprise. This is not what we expected to find when we came here.
Alright, we have a bit of cloud cover today, but that's not going to stop the planes because the clouds are nice and high. But a little bit about the splash-in format. Right behind me is Lake Agnes, where all the planes are landing. They have actual buoys set up in the lake to determine the direction of landing procedures. And once they land, they pull up right up the boat ramp. They have lines drawn on the grass here, and then they pull into a parking spot right over here in the fields. It's a great format for an air show, and so combination air show with seaplanes equals a splash-in.
We're here in Tavares, Florida, known as America's Seaplane City, and for a good reason. The whole town has kind of surrounded themselves around seaplanes, and they've got a beautiful facility set up here where the seaplanes can land and taxi up. Behind us is a lot of restaurants and bars and stuff to where you can go and relax and sit on the porch and watch the seaplanes land and come in and out of the marina. So we're here for a seaplane fly-in, and we'll take you around through the city and show you more about Tavares and cover the fly-in for you.
And then if you check the SPA website and stay tuned to GATV, we're going to be inviting Dave to all of our events, and we'll keep you advised. We have a calendar on the Seaplane Pilots Association website, which is seaplanes.org, and we'll have all the events listed on there. We're essentially looking to do one splash-in, fly-in event per month, every month of the year. And we want to invite the flying public out, the general public out, and we want to expose people to our world, the wonderful world of flying floats. Don't go anywhere. GATV is at the Lakeside Inn in Mount Dora, Florida with the Seaplane Pilots Association.
It's like flying a magic carpet, and if you want to experience it for yourself, Ocean Helicopters has a team of seasoned instructors that can train you for your private through ATP helicopter ratings with the FAA-approved Part 141 flight school that offers one-on-one instruction at your pace. Ocean Helicopters can also provide aerial photography, banner towing, and sightseeing tours. Ocean Helicopters flies the safe and versatile Robinson R22 and R44. Plus, for your turbine transition, they have the awesome Bell 206 Jet Ranger. An affiliate of Ocean Helicopters, Bahamas Helicopters, has virtually the same services in the islands of the Bahamas. Ocean Helicopters is located in sunny West Palm Beach, Florida, where we fly year-round, and they can assist out-of-town students. For more information, contact them at 561-625-1900 or visit their website at oceanhelicopters.com. Treasure Coast Avionics in Fort Pierce is your one-stop for all of your avionics needs. They have a huge inventory of parts and the expertise to service all major brands of electronics. Whether you need service, certification, or a panel upgrade, Treasure Coast Avionics can get the job done right. If you're looking for that new panel, they have state-of-the-art design capabilities with CNC machining to turn your dream panel into a reality. Treasure Coast Avionics is located on field at the St. Lucie County International Airport. Click on their logo on the GATV online website for more information.
And this is what it's all about, is getting people out and flying their airplanes and having a good time and sharing it with the public, and I think we're doing that well here.
Give them a reason to take the plane out of the hangar, and even if you're not going to be a seaplane pilot or you'll never own one, it's still a great rating to get. I mean, you can do it over a weekend. It's a 2-day course. It's an easy add-on rating. It's probably the most laid-back rating you'll ever do. You'll study at night, one night, and you'll do some takeoff and landing, and you'll learn a little bit about seaplane, but it'll make you a better pilot because it's all seat of your pants flying. It's not, you're not looking at a glass panel or anything like that. It's just into the freedom of being able to land in the water, and you don't have to talk on the radio, and everything's low, and you can.
That's the thing that's probably you noticed when you first did your rating at Brown's. There is not a radio in the airplane.
No. And most of the time, my instructor kept covering up the gauges. So,
no, look, feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a little bit different than you're used to.
Completely different. But like John said, if everything's okay outside of the airplane, it's going to be okay inside the airplane. Just a short ride from Winter Haven, Florida, you'll find Jack Brown Seaplane Base located on the shores of Lake Jessie. With one single J3 Cub on floats, back in 1963, Jack Brown opened the business and started training seaplane pilots. The J3 Cubs used by Jack Browns for their training are a blast to fly. They'll remind you why you started flying in the first place, but I'll warn you, flying a seaplane is an addiction. Flying the Cub is all about using stick and rudder. They have a Spartan panel that's not all cluttered with a bunch of fancy gadgets. Morgan was my instructor, and she conducted our ground school. We were given a single-engine Seacourse guide that explains taxiing, the different types of takeoffs, rough water operations, glassy water operations, confined area takeoffs, power failure, docking, ramping, beaching, sailing, and the general knowledge you need to become a seaplane pilot. I know it sounds like a lot, but it was very easy to follow, and the ground school only took about an hour and a half to complete. Now with the classroom work out of the way, it was time to head out to the ramp and get up close and personal with the aircraft that we'd be flying. Here again, Morgan did an excellent job in getting us comfortable with the aircraft and going over the flight characteristics of the little J3 Cub. The most important part of a pre-flight of any seaplane is checking for water in the pontoons. It just seems to have a way of finding its way in there. Your flight training starts off with learning how to taxi. With the rudders down, you really do have a lot of control, but you'll soon learn that the wind affects these airplanes in the same way it does a sailboat. And learning how to read the wind and the water needs to become second nature. Now the fun began. Morgan explained to me how to get the airplane up on the step. Getting the pontoons up on the step is a maneuver that will allow you to move quickly across the lake, with the wings supporting about 70% of the load and the pontoons only taking on about 30%. Now for our first takeoff. Holding full throttle, you let the plane accelerate to get it up onto the step, and hold it there with slight back pressure, and let the plane just slowly fly its way off of the lake. You won't do much straight and level flight with this type of training. Just about the time you reach altitude of 500 feet, you'll approach another lake and set up for a landing. There are 4 basic landings that you'll be taught with your seaplane rating. A normal landing is very much like landing a conventional aircraft on a runway. Once in ground effect, you'll want to touch down right about stall speed, and a crosswind landing is done just about the same way. For a rough water landing, you'll carry a little bit extra power and treat it much like a soft field landing in a wheeled aircraft. The most challenging landing is on glassy water, because it eliminates your depth perception and you have no way of knowing how high you are above the water. In this type of landing, you set up an LVR, or a last visual reference point. Carry a little extra power and a nose-high attitude and let the plane slowly fly itself to the water. Just as with landing, you'll learn additional takeoff maneuvers as well. In a glassy water takeoff, you actually lift one pontoon out of the water first to reduce drag, let the plane accelerate to the point where the other pontoon can come free. In a rough water takeoff, here again much like a soft field takeoff, you literally pull the plane off of the water, hold it in ground effect until it accelerates enough to climb out. My favorite takeoff is a confined area takeoff. This is where you start 90 degrees to the wind, lift one pontoon as you turn into the wind, and let the plane corkscrew itself off of the water and into the air. Seaplane training is more fun than any pilot should be allowed to have. There are no radios, just stick and rudder flying with the doors open and the feel of the wind. These are very forgiving J3 Cubs, but they will make you a better pilot. It also counts as your biennial flight review. Out of all of the add-on ratings that are available for your private pilot license, the seaplane rating is the one with minimal cost, minimal time, minimal training, minimal stress, but has maximum fun, and will make you a better pilot.
And I do think it makes you a better pilot. For flying stick and rudder, I tell people if everything's all right outside the airplane, it's going to be all right inside. But it's just a new experience, and the last little bit of freedom we have with flying. We go out there and we say, hey, I want to land on that lake. Don't have to talk to anybody, just go over there and splash down. So it is a lot of fun. I get a kick out of the new student the first time he goes up, and he lifts off the water, and most of them say, this ought to be illegal. This is so much fun, and it is. It really is.
Join the Seaplane Pilots Association. It's a great organization. They're going to protect our right to be able to fly seaplanes and land on the water, and they're a great big advocate for what seaplanes all about and what you do as a seaplane pilot. So we need them, and we need a strong organization to basically keep the waters open for us.
Yeah, we're out here to keep the water open, and one of the greatest things we can do to keep the water open is have a presence on the water. So the more seaplane pilots we can create and get out here flying seaplanes, and the more we can share it with the public, the goodwill is what we're really good at. We go out, and seaplanes are a magnet for the public. When we show up at any community, at any resort or any restaurant with our seaplane and pull up on the shore or at the dock, that people just come out of nowhere. Everyone is magnetically attracted to
people want to
seaplanes,
see them, sure.
whether you're a pilot or not, and we want to share that goodwill, and that's really one of the best things we can do for advocacy, because if we're sharing it and getting people involved and sharing our stories with them, then there's not as much opposition to us being on there.
Right. Okay, well, thank you very much.
We appreciate you being here.
Time. We're going to follow the SPA to all their events, and hopefully get more people to join the organization and go get the extra rating. Whether you fly VFR or IFR, proper flight planning and having up-to-date charts on board are essential to safe flight. TriNav Flight Planning Atlas and Charts combines all of these features in one convenient bound atlas. Developed by aviation legend Howie Keefe, he needed a better system for crisscrossing the U.S., setting records and flying in the Reno air races in his P-51 Miss America. You would need all of these charts just to cover the same area of one TriNav Atlas, and instead of throwing them away every 6 months, the TriNav charts are good for 1 full year with free updates. To plan a VFR or IFR flight, you would have to reference many different sources, but one TriNav Flight Planning Atlas has all of the information you need. Divided into 3 sections, north, south, and west, each TriNav Atlas covers a large area for those long cross-country trips, while also containing detailed local information not found on any other charts, like a Rand-McNally road map, a cross-country planning chart, miles between airports, radio frequencies of all towered airports, a topographical map of the U.S., and a convenient legend. But the best part of a TriNav Atlas is the unique charts that have all VFR and IFR info together, including Victor Airways, intersections, airports, city locations, VORs, DMEs, airport frequencies including weather, major roadways and waterways, MOAs, airspaces, sector altitudes, and much more. No other chart gives you this much detail and information in a bound atlas for easy handling in the cockpit. Don't rely solely on electronic equipment that can fail, and with the free updates, you will always be legal for flight in the event of an FAA ramp check. New to our TriNav product line are 4 bound sectional atlases for the VFR-only pilot. These new atlases contain the same size FAA sectional charts that normally come folded, but in a handy spiral-bound 8.5 by 11-inch format for easy handling in the cockpit. The U.S. is broken up into 4 regions, so each VFR sectional atlas covers a large area. Also included are frequencies for towers, approach controls and weather, info on restricted areas, MOAs, and expanded terminal area charts. If your flights take you further east to the Bahamas and out islands, TriNav has the perfect atlas for you. Our Bahamas and Caribbean Flight Planning Atlas combines all of the information of 2 WAC charts, 3 IFR en route charts, and a VFR sectional, all in an easy-to-read format that lets you fly IFR or VFR to the islands with 1 bound atlas instead of having to juggle 6 folded maps. The Bahamas and Caribbean Atlas also includes all of the information you need to plan a flight through the out islands, like a flying checklist with the requirements for outboard and inboard flights, Bahamas airport information listing all of the airports and their services available, U.S. Customs regulations with contact phone numbers and a C7 declaration form for entering the country, airport frequencies for approach, tower, and ground. We also include expanded area maps of all of the major airports throughout the islands and an easy-to-read legend for all of the VFR and IFR symbols. The TriNav Bahamas and Caribbean Atlas is the most complete and comprehensive set of charts available today for flying to the islands. Check out the rest of our website for more information. TriNav Aviation Chart Company. Fly prepared.
Hey Pete, what do you think about the weather right now? Is reporting about 500 ceilings broken. Do you think we can fly today?
Did you try checking with the weather briefer yet?
No, I haven't done that yet.
Let's check the weather briefer, see what they're forecasting to do.
Okay.
See if those ceilings are going to come down anymore or continue going up, and then we'll make another decision.
Okay, all right, we'll do that.
Let
Thank
me
you.
know.
All right.
See the mistake I just made just from a student coming up asking a simple question during the pre-flight? I got distracted on my pre-flight and forgot something as simple as the oil cap door. Be careful, out pre-flighting, the airlines use a sterile cockpit environment when they're taking off landing anything below 10,000 feet. We hear about that in general aviation, but try to keep a sterile pre-flight environment as well. Minimize distractions such as phone calls, checking weather on your phone, questions, passengers asking questions. Try to keep focused and always use your checklist. And if you think you got distracted, go back and double check. Make sure you pick up right where you left off so you don't forget something. We probably would have noticed this once we sat in the airplane, but what if we forgot something else more critical, like our fuel caps or even checking our fuel levels?
Blades are very narrow, and because they're so narrow, we don't create a lot of lift. So we have to also be cautious of our energy management. We want to make sure that we keep all the RPMs in our rotors, keep them spinning so that we don't have to do any type of emergency landing. So we keep energy in our blades, keep our airspeed, and our altitude. Those are the three most important things when you're flying a helicopter, especially when you're flying the Robinson R-22 or the R-44.
GATV's website and show are devoted entirely to general aviation. If you want to see your business soar, you should partner with us and our other sponsors so collectively we can promote the sport of flying. By advertising on our show and website, you can help share our passion for flying and expose more people to your business at the same time. For advertising rates, simply click on the airplane logo on the GATV online website. Now let's check in with Master CFI Jim Alsop for this segment of Hangar Talk.
Hello, my name is Jim Alsop. Welcome to my hangar classroom and the video production set for Hangar Talk. Hangar Talk is a feature of GATV Online. Each week, Dave East and I share with you flying tips, anecdotes, and comment that will promote your flying for fun, flying with style, and flying safely. Pilots spend a lot of time learning to master the crosswind landing, and many articles are written about this skill. But what about the crosswind takeoff? I do not hear a lot of pilots speak about techniques used to take off in a crosswind. Is this photo of a pilot's sight picture a takeoff or a landing? It is hard to say. Takeoffs and landings should look the same. Roll into the wind using aileron and opposite rudder when landing, and also during takeoff in a crosswind. A tailwheel airplane should be rolled onto the windward wheel before liftoff. This is a best pilot practice in all airplanes, but it is especially important for tailwheel airplanes. If the liftoff is not clean in crosswind conditions and the airplane were to settle back onto the runway, the airplane would not be aligned with the runway when it touches down. During the moment in which the airplane is airborne, it will begin to move sideways with the air mass and perhaps start to weather vane into the wind. When the tires contact the runway, side forces are created and Newton's force equation comes into play. Remember, the big gorilla is always with you. You may remember the big gorilla from a former Hangar Talk episode or from my book, Flying the Tailwheel Airplane. The big gorilla is smiling when your airplane is bouncing sideways on the runway. Make it a habit to apply aileron into a crosswind and hold opposite rudder during takeoff. roll onto the windward wheel, maintain directional control with rudder, and make a positive liftoff. Avoid skipping. Next, establish and maintain rate of climb with wings level and the airplane crabbed into the wind to maintain runway heading. Remember to hold right rudder against left turning P-factor. A proper takeoff roll will be just the opposite of a landing and rollout. Another reason to roll into the wind during takeoff is to preview the landing sight picture. Take advantage of aileron input on takeoff to experience how much aileron will be required for landing in the prevailing crosswind conditions. Dave East and I hope you enjoyed this edition of Hangar Talk, and we look forward to our next time together. Thanks for watching, and if you like the show, please tell your friends. Until next time, this is Jim Alsup reminding you to have fun, fly high, and keep the blue on top.
This episode of GATV has been brought to you by Aviation Insurance Resources, Aircraft Maintenance Specialist, APP Family of FBOs, AvMap Satellite Navigation, Data Toys Digital Video Systems, Dillon Aviation Master CFI Jim Alsup, Trade-A-Plane, Heaven's Landing, Jack Brown Seaplane Base, North County Flight Training, Ocean Helicopters, Piper Aircraft, the Seaplane Pilots Association, Treasure Coast Avionics, and Weekend Waypoints.
But that's all we have time for. I hope you enjoyed the show.
If you get a chance, send us an email. We would love to hear from you. And if you're not a pilot, go take a discovery flight. You'll be glad you did. I know I am.
But if you are a pilot, take a kid flying. Fly safe.